Oh, look at that picture.
Look at that thing.
Nice photo, man.
Yeah. I'm talking about you.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
All right, let's talk about the source, but so how you stumbled upon it or captured, but also the nuances, because I think this is the guy we spoke to last weekend, you and I.
Yeah, this was a Sly broadcast expired. And
okay.
he called back probably maybe a couple days after the first voicemail.
So pretty short term.
I think it was the 17th of March was the first time I spoke to him.
Okay, then just for everybody's sake, talk a little bit about this guy, because he was nice, but over the top picky. Like when I talked to him and you talked to him, I said he's not a jerk in any way, just very picky.
Right, very picky, very thorough, and very nervous. However, and we could certainly talk about this. This is why motivation is so important. I still don't know if I know the motivation, but he didn't like anything that we presented, and he came back and forth a few times about what he wanted, and we ultimately just waited it out. And he came to us and took one of the three options that we gave him, and we got it done, and didn't really budge all that much. I mean, a little bit, but not much. So we got it. We got the price and the.
Sorry, there's a delay, Brian. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Two things I wanted to ask you to explain. One is, for the people that don't know, what is Sly Broadcast? I'm going to just type that question in, and we, as associates, we treat it like it's nothing. And then secondly, how important was it for you to have us in your corner, like literally talking to the cell? Like talk about those two things.
Yeah, first, Sly Broadcast is a ringless voicemail service where you pre-record a voicemail and you can broadcast it out to a bunch of phones. In this case, I think I had done maybe 600 voicemails, and they call back. The interested folks call back, and you just work through the leads. Two, Chris, you spoke to the guy. I think you spoke to him separately because there were some nuances with the contracts, with the agreements, and some of the nuances that he wanted taken out of the deal or added in. He was looking for some comfortability. So I think the fact that he was talking to me, and then I present, hey, I need you to let's talk to my senior partner. That's huge. That there's a team involved, and it's not just Brian sitting at home doing this. There's a whole team available, and that made him feel a lot better. And again, it only took 2.5 weeks to get it done. It felt a lot longer, I can tell you that.
Okay, but cool. Before we transition to numbers, Zach, cool for the new people to know, or first timers to know. He was definitely, besides being picky, looking for some credibility, like third party. He wasn't busting anyone. He just wanted that comfort level. Okay, so let's dive into the numbers. What was he on for an expired, Brian?
He was on for 300, and that's what he wanted, 300,000.
Okay, and he owed how much?
He owes, I got it here, 200 and, hold on, 240,000.
240. Okay, yeah, we can use round numbers. It'd be easier. Okay.
Yeah.
So
241.
241. You tied up for 289. So go back to what we always say. You guaranteed him 49.2 basically in that math.
I have 47,550. So because I think I got it. I got it for 280. Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So then, so for everyone's sake, I know we say this. I mean, we do this like it's rote, but so if he guaranteed him the 40-something equity, all that means is the underlying debt's coming down during the term, he locks in the cash, and the principal's coming down over time. That's why we don't focus on price. And then you're going to go to market for how much?
339.
Get there,
339, 339.
339. Okay. So let's walk through the projections then. Zachary. That's actually super conservative. I know Nick's gonna chime in if I don't say that, because when he gets the buyer on the phone, he's gonna over time get him a 10% with you. So this is conservative for everybody watching. Go ahead. What's the monthly principal pay down?
300.
300 pay down in principal plus the spread. Nice. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. Let's just see what it comes out to here. There's the 81. So, Brian, how many of those you need to go full time, buddy?
Like 5 more.
All
Maybe
right,
6.
well, you're at home for the next few weeks. I think 5 is going to be a short-term thing here.
Yeah.
Any questions? You want to take some questions?
Yeah, so go ahead and type the questions either in the comment box. Yeah, let's just go ahead and use that. Go ahead and type your questions in the comment box.
No bad questions, you guys. If you're new, please, because we say things and forget sometimes that we're glossing over some really important points.
What are the comps on the property?
Right, you want to come back?
What? Zoom it back out.
Not just because.
Oh.
Questions that are coming in?
Day 4.
What are the comps on the property?
All right, you guys, a lot of you are stuck on comps in these questions. Brian can answer your question in a minute, but what Link brought up the other day is so important. What's important is what will the terms market pay? But just for shits and grins here, what were the comps, Brian? Weren't they about what he was on for?
Right on it, almost to the penny. What we bought it, what we took it for. But again, it doesn't matter because it doesn't make any difference.
Okay. Other questions? I can't see that.
What were the terms the seller was initially uncomfortable with?
Yeah, that's a good question. Brian, what were some of the things he busted us on?
Yeah, he didn't like the length of time. I mean, typical seller, he wanted his cake and eat it too. So he wanted the shortest term and the highest equity. And once we explained to him that didn't fit our model, we gave him 3 options. I think I had 4 years, 60 months, and 72 months. And ultimately, he took the shorter term for less equity because he wanted the equity. He even told me, he says, what matters to me most is how much I get out of it. And then he ended up taking the deal with the least equity. So it was the amount of time.
All right, let's just talk about what Brian and Chris did. So a majority of us would go send a 36-month term. Do you notice that Brian, although he said he wanted the shortest term possible, did not send him anything shorter than 48 months? And he ended up choosing that. So Brian actually had an additional 12 months on this deal because he did not sell himself short, and he actually projected and put options that were the shortest at 48 months. So I say this because just watch the options that you send to people, because they don't know what norm is. You're the one that presents norm. That's why we use a lot of things like term anchoring. When somebody asks me like, what's like the average seller term? And I say, I don't know. To be honest with you, most sellers, a lot of sellers want me to do 10, 20, 30 years. It just depends on how I can solve your problem, or how Brian can solve your problem, or how Chris can solve your problem. And then allow the seller to then tell you what they're comfortable with. So then the next question is, okay, well, what's the longest term you're willing to go and still be comfortable?
Brian, how many real estate deals did you do prior to these 2 takings you just got?
0. Zip.
And I'll tell you guys, Brian, was it Brian that was 72 days, the first deal?
Yes, Brian actually, he was second fastest in our company, and the first one was an anomaly.
Yeah. First one was locked.
Yeah.
Okay, so 72 days to his first deal, no experience, but I will tell you this, that's not luck. Brian's disciplined. Brian puts in the work, as you've heard everybody talk about, and Brian sends in calls for critique and constantly gets better. This is not brain science. He does what we say to do.
Well, if you weren't on for the mastermind day or the associate day where Jarek Robbins spoke, he showed this chart that said that most people have dreams of being the 1%, but they have habits of the 99%. Brian is clearly has the habits of that 1%. It's just going to take some time in order for those to catch up, so that way he gets the results of a 1%. And not in a 1% of the media portrays. We're talking about the 1% of the people that are accomplishing their goals. They're actually accomplishing their goals and obtaining the wealth or the time that they want.
And goal-wise, Brian, tell me if I'm wrong, but goal-wise, I think one of the many reasons you upgraded to I6 was that you want to coach eventually, right? I think it was you.
Yes.
Okay. So it just happens to be a fit for him. Congrats, by the way, buddy. That's awesome.